TPJ, but that's all good.
Cool. Alright, let's do it. Yeah. Hey guys, BJ and GameDay back again. You got Brent, you got Josh. Seems like forever since we last broadcast, but it's only been a week, mate. We obviously had rep round. And what a cracking week, mate. Obviously, we had the great Tonga and Samoa test. We had the Denver, what do you call it? I guess it's an experiment with England and New Zealand. And then, of course, the women on Friday night played in the State of Origin with a win to the Blues. And finally, the jewel in our crown, New South Wales up the mighty Blues, getting over Queensland to take the series. Yeah, what did you think of the weekend, mate?
Yeah, good mate. It was obviously, it seemed like it was long ago that we last caught up.
Played Supercoach, yeah.
But, no, it was a really good weekend. Obviously, starting with the Women's Day of Origin on the Friday. I didn't actually get to watch it, but they've always been pretty close affairs.
Yep.
And I think the standards starting to get a bit better.
Yeah.
So
I think they had a great turnout there at North Sydney Oval as well, something like 7,000 or something. So, for a local pitch and a Women's State of Origin, cracker of a turnout.
Yeah, and some of those girls run pretty hard.
Oh, yeah.
If they don't run hard, they got a bit of pace and sort of agility on them. So, no, it's good to see. And then obviously, I thoroughly enjoy that, the Pacific test.
Yeah.
My favourite
match of the year for me.
It's a real unreal atmosphere there. You see in the crowd, they all love it. And obviously, there's some pretty good talent out there. But I think Tonga's starting to establish themselves as an elite rugby league nation.
I think because probably Tonga dominated the match so much, there wasn't as many highlights that you come to see with the big hits and things like that. They just sort of ran all over the top of them. But the highlight from one out of that game was the pre-match war cry from both teams. That was phenomenal. The two teams getting into each other.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as an Aussie, we don't have anything like that. So even when the Kiwis do something like that, it's always good. So when you've got two nations going at each other, it's always a nice start to the game, mate. So.
And the Blues, mate, we got up.
Hallelujah.
We've won a series.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a bit closer than I thought it was going to be, to be fair, but credit to Queensland, even losing all the guys they lost this year, still showing they're not going to be a walkover, but we got the job done, that's all that matters. And
That's it. The result, the Shield's coming back down south, that's all that matters. But looking at that match, mate, as you say, Queensland, they never know how to say die, and they played brilliant. They just went around New South Wales with ease in the second match there. I really thought they could have put more points on us, and obviously towards the end there, it's been well documented how I guess the Haas probably went the wrong way about it when they had 12 men on the field against New South Wales. But that said, the result was all that counted in the end there, and that makes us a bit happier. Yeah,
but at the same time, with some promising signs for Queensland, obviously, Kalen Ponga got his debut, and he's shown why it might be pretty short-lived with our success if we don't take him seriously, because he looks like he's probably going to be permanent in that side.
Mate, massive thing for Queensland. I think they've really got to find a way to start Billy Slater and Kalen Ponga in the third game. You saw it from the start. Billy Slater really affected that team. He really put on those first two tries for Queensland, and as soon as Kalen Ponga came on the field, he looked electric. So I think the more time you can get on the field with both those guys, the better it's going to be. I just don't know how they can fit him in. I don't think Ponga can play 6 or 7 and then keep a structured attack. But I do like that they brought him in on, I think it was the 13. I think when Maguire went off, it was Ponga that came on. So that really looked good.
Yeah, I mean, they tested him out big time, throwing him in the front line. He made
30 tackles or whatever.
Yeah. So he stood it, and he was still pretty effective. He made that break late that could have almost clinched it. But plenty of good signs for Queensland, but also plenty of great signs for New South Wales with the emergence of some real superstars now that will sort of establish themselves there, I hope.
There weren't too many injuries out of State of Origin. I think Boyd Cordner's going to get rested. A couple of the other guys are going to get rested. I think the biggest concern probably, Supercoach-wise, hasn't been as effective this year. Jack DeBellin copped another knock on the hip, so there's talk that he might be out. My other interest is probably from the weekend has been the Denver test with England and New Zealand. Obviously, Stephen Kearney came out and said that he wasn't going to play the New Zealand players. He's held to his word. He's kept them on the bench, the few guys that did go over. But the one for me was obviously Marty Tapau, getting stuck over there with some plane issues. Obviously, Marty might change his flight carrier next time from United to someone else, because he was pretty pissed off with the tweets that I saw come out.
Yeah, a bit of bad weather over there, was it? So a few of them got bailed up.
I'm not too sure,
Yeah, so not much you can do about that, and probably throws a little bit of concern for a few super coaches that you wouldn't have anticipated for, but I'm thinking surely he'll be right.
Yeah, look,
if he's going to play anyway.
Word is that he finally got back this morning, so I'm sure Big Marty, not too much will keep him off the park if he's not injured. A bit of jet lag, hopefully a night or two sleep, he'll be fine to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Mate, the other big news this week, the inaugural Super Trade Round. Everyone at home, you've got 5 trades this week. Use them wisely. 5 trades, sort of unheard of, mate.
Yeah, and I guess the best part about it, even though there was no Supercoach last week, you had from lockout last week till, kick off tomorrow night to muck around with those trades and either send yourself crazy or, like myself, probably try not to think about it too much because you'll send yourself crazy.
Yeah.
But pretty cool, 5 trades. I don't know whether you use them all or not, depending on how many trades you got left and what your approach is. So plenty of options. You can really overhaul some areas of your team if you need to. So I think it's pretty cool, but so many different approaches to it.
Mate, it got to lockout last week on Monday, and straight away, 2 o'clock came around, I knew what trades I wanted to make, bang, I made 5. I was so disappointed. I was just like, shit, what am I going to do for the next week and a half? I've just made my trades. And look, obviously with Team List Tuesday coming out yesterday, I've re-looked at those trades. I've changed 1 or 2 here or there purely because a couple of guys have been dropped or injured or whatever it may be. But yeah, I was sort of disappointed for a week because I'm just a trade rage, absolute tradeaholic, and that's sort of why I play Supercoach. I don't really care about the result. I just want that fix. So, it was a bit of fun, 5 trades, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. And probably need to touch on our last week's scores and that while we're...
Yeah, definitely.
While we're talking about it. And most notably, for me, I scored 10.41.
Yep.
Which wasn't too bad, but I actually didn't play Kalen Ponga, which I had forgotten about until we started preparing for this. So believe it or not,
you did comment from everyone too for that.
Yeah, there was a few boys there that pizzled me about that, and rightly so. I mean, in my mind, I thought Newcastle against Melbourne, I'll probably contain him, and from what I saw, I can never not play Kalen Ponga again. And then obviously the Origin debut he had, I think. I mean, Melbourne, one of those ones I've learnt from.
Melbourne sort of dominated Newcastle in that match, and he just showed you cannot contain him.
That's right.
In open field play, like I look at him and I compared to sort of Munster that 2 seasons ago when he played fullback and was just ridiculous. Ponga's doing the same thing and possibly even better. He's a bit more raw than Munster is. He's got a little bit more to learn, but the talent there is just freakish.
Oh, I know that, like you said, to be fair, my prediction was right. It was just the Ponga factor was not nullified at all. And as I said, I learnt from that one and I won't do it again. But I mean, that's, as I said, testament to the strength of my side. I'd like to think if I can't play Kalen Ponga. Chose Cleary in the end, but yeah, so
10.41. Where's that leave your rank, mate?
I think I blew out 500 spots, so I'm at 2.5.
Yep.
Still, which is still more than respectable. I sort of don't think I've blown out much higher than 5,000 so far and stayed in and out of there. So could be better, but yeah, just hanging in there. So need to improve if I'm going to hang around with some of these blokes in the league.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
What about yourself, though?
Mate, I actually had a really good week last week, 1162.
Solid.
Led the league for us, but again, I'm pretty sure everyone scored over 1,000. So another cracking week from the league, the BJ and GameDay league. Mate, 1162. Yeah, really happy. Up to just outside 5,000, like 5,009. So it's been a long battle there, you sort of first couple of weeks in 50 and 60,000 spots. So, trade in the right people. I've got a solid core team that a lot of those top guys do. It's just a matter, I missed the boat and a few wrong captain choices. And
so I know still a third of the season to go, basically, and you've brought yourself right back into contention. So credit to you. There's still plenty to go yet.
Definitely.
The league's pulled into 75th overall.
Yep.
Pretty solid overall ranking, mate.
Great
top
result.
100.
Great result, guys.
Embedded in that top 100 for the last sort of month or so at least. So that's pretty big.
Wayne at Hell's Glen, he's leading the way again. He's actually taken over. We talked about him last week. I think he's 22nd overall in round 15.
Yeah. Yep.
He's had another cracking week and he's actually gone to the top of the ladder total points overall. So he's jumped Cam Coxell. It's pretty tight still up the top. He's not too far in front. Brent, you're third, about 250 points behind. So 1 or 2 good captain choices. And you could be chasing the boys down, but they don't look like slow.
With 17 still to play, I mean, I'm not exactly going to be making too much ground in that round, if not losing. So, I mean, there's very much potential. We have to put some lobsters away pretty shortly, mate.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, look, we might be handing out a bit of cash, but we'll wait and see. And in the head-to-head league, look, I'm not too sure. I think you're still on top, are you?
I think so, yeah. It's under rough. I'll keep the hat if I win it.
Yeah,
don't worry about that.
We can't afford the postage,
save
boys.
on postage costs, so I'll be definitely trying to keep that hat on my head.
But other than that, I jumped from 7th to 6th, so nothing to write home about, but I am charging home. I'm hitting the right time of the season. That's it. After Super Trade Week, I'm going to trade 5 players this week. Mate, tell me how many trades you're going to have left if you use all 5 this week.
Well, I think I'm sitting on 14, something like that.
Yep.
14 or 13.
Okay.
So if I use a lot, it's 8 or 9. I can't recall exactly because I've not tortured myself.
This week you really got away from it.
I really wanted to wait until I had the team list because there was a few guys like Widdop and that I wanted to have a look at.
Yeah.
Which sounds like they're probably going to play, but yeah, I'm looking about 8 or 9. And then...
Mate, I'm down to 6.
Yeah, right, that's after the 5.
Look,
and then you've got to assume you're going to make another 2 to get some numbers for 17.
I will.
You will make, so there you're down to 4. And then you've got a very slim run home. And if you want any
injuries.
Any keepers that play after 17, so any of those guys are going to be playing Origin, you'll be hoping for no injuries for about 6 weeks. So.
I said it at the start, I'm a tradeaholic. That's all I play this freaking game for. So round 20 to 25, you might not hear from me too much. Brent might do a couple of solo shows. I'll be out of trade, so what's the fucking point? But there you go. Trades for this week. Actually, before we go into trades, let's run through a few other things. The June 30 deadline.
Yeah,
We've seen a couple of players change clubs.
And in recent years, I just want to say this has become a bit of a novelty, I guess, of the NRL when it probably hasn't in the past. It seems to be there's a bit of player movement now happening each year in this June 30 deadline, which sometimes you don't expect, and sometimes you hear those speculation and rumour that something might happen and it does or it doesn't, but it's turning into a bit of a talking point.
With how strict the salary cap is, you can only have a squad of 30 players that you've got to keep everyone in that salary cap. It's tough. I mean, you've seen the Bulldogs absolutely just destroyed by the salary cap. And again, it's probably not the salary cap, it's just their management of it, obviously. But they're really struggling.
It does suck as well because these sorts of things start to affect the fans and it's got nothing to do with the guys. I mean, you look at the Dogs now, they're basically going to go through a period like Newcastle did. Maybe not as bad, but I know as a fan that went through it, it sucks, and it's just the management. There's no consequences for their actions.
That's the thing.
Des Hasler's left them high and dry.
Players suffer, but more than the players suffer and the fans suffer, because in the end, you just look at what happened this week with Aaron Woods going to the Sharks. He hasn't lost any money. He's simply just gone to another club to get his 800, 900,000 a year. The fans all of a sudden have lost a guy, albeit he wasn't playing any good. I don't think there's too good a culture there at the Bulldogs, but it's probably related a lot to this. But all of a sudden, you've lost a guy who's played for Australia, played for New South Wales. What can you do? You know, fans, you've got to be frustrated.
They lost Joshua Reynolds last year, arguably the heart and soul. They also lost Moses Mbye, who was arguably their best attacking
best
weapon.
player this year, for sure.
So, I mean, that really sucks. But again, they're two of the big talking points in terms of June 30 transfers with those guys. So
the other one I've got to have a bit of a chuckle about is Robbie Farah going back to the Tigers. Now, the Tigers have actually got hookers there. I mean, they don't really have any established hookers, but you've got Peter Godinay, you've got Matt McKilrick, you've got Jacob Little, Elijah Taylor can play there. They sort of have bought a player that is old, plays 1 or 2 good games and then just peters out. I mean, North Sydney's the feeder club for South Sydney. They told him to go to England. They told him to go chase money. Now, if you can't make an in-trust Super Cup team, time to give it away. But obviously, Ivan Cleary's seen something that others haven't.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, when he did play for South the other week, he had that one run. He actually had a blinder. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. They haven't actually named a hooker off the bench this week. I mean, I know Elijah Taylor's moved back to lock and he can sort of rotate in there if they want to give him a rest. But I don't know. Maybe Robbie Farah that we see has a point to prove, and he's back at home where he wants to be. Benji's there, you know. He's there back at Leichhardt. And
I'm not saying I don't like it because I'm a fan of Robbie Farah. I just don't understand it. You know, I just that's all. Mate, talk of Corey Norman to your guys now. He's come out in social media tonight, and I'm not too sure. I didn't read it, but I'm assuming he squashed those rumours. Any thoughts on it, mate?
Yeah, Brownie's also come out and said there's been no discussion with any of those guys, and the source for that one initially was the Mole, who we all know is far from reliable.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing at the moment. If anything's going to happen there, it won't be till next year. But I mean, as nice as it would have been, there won't be anything happening there.
Yep.
With us, Brownie did confirm we're in talks with Fergo though, which has been the worst kept secret after the Woods going to Cronulla probably. So. Yeah, mate, nothing happening for us. We did actually get JJ Felice, a young prop from the Tigers, actually. So we signed him. I think it's a bit
Edric Lee?
Edric Lee is a 2019 signing.
Mate, he's been solid for the Sharks.
Yeah.
He's kept Fecky out, a premiership wing, and I know Fecky's not the fastest or best player, but Edric's actually been solid this week. He hasn't dropped this year. He hasn't dropped the ball.
Yeah, and that's right. And I think it's just it adds a bit of depth to the back line.
Yep.
They've been a bit short, as an article I'd read today really said we need a bit of competition there. So and that doesn't change chasing after Fergo as well. So it can only be good. To be fair, Edric's been pretty solid since he went to Cronulla.
Yeah. I think Brownie's creating a pretty good team there for you guys. Like obviously you've got Pearce and Connor Watson in the halves look solid when obviously Pearce will be coming back from injury. You've got a great young forward pack. If you can bolster those backs alongside Ponga, everything's going pretty right there for the Knights.
Absolutely, I think he's trying to pull Fergo in there, get some size in the backs. Moga, hopefully comes back. Ponga's obviously going to only keep getting better and better. So, yeah, I'd like to think the days of the spoons are far behind us now, mate. But so good time.
Parramatta, here you go.
What else is going on?
Mate, let's go to Supercoach stuff.
Yeah.
Couple of things during the week, nothing really too big at the moment. Cheapy John Olive got dropped from the Bulldogs. I think a lot of people had him in their side and expecting or hoping for a round 17 play. Hopewadi's moved to fullback over Moses Mbai. Hopewadi's been in great form in the centre, so it just depends obviously on the Bulldogs. If they can't get the ball to him,
he played well for Tonga as well at fullback on the weekend. But I mean, one thing on Olive, he has. I mean, you think about it. I watched that game against the Titans, Dogs versus the Titans in his last game. He missed some absolutely shocking tackles on Brenko Lee. Like I think I said to a few boys, if he doesn't get dropped next game, I'll be very surprised. They've had one of their centres move to fullback, leaving a centre spot vacant, and he's still lost his centre spot to a winger. Montoya's come and taken the centre spot.
Holland into the other side.
Come in and they've given Remy Smith. He's kept his spot. So that's how bad he's gone, and it was absolutely woeful. I picked him up, and I thought, how's his security? And after I watched that, I just thought, I know, but I guess Remy Smith might be the guy you could downgrade to next week if he ends up keeping his spot. Who knows? But yeah, it's a bit of a pearl of that one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was last round. Again, it seems like so long ago. Joshy Hodgson came back for the Raiders last round, didn't he?
Yeah.
So he's been named to start this week. Had a cracking first game back. Look, I know, again, I know it was the Tigers, but Tigers been one of the good sides this year so far.
Absolutely.
Defensively, they've been brilliant. The Raiders just tore them apart, and it was all Hodgson, Whiten was brilliant as well, but... he starts this week for Sevilla Havili.
Saliva. So no, mate, he just adds a crazy dimension to that side. There's all of a sudden there's this dynamic sort of playmaker getting that ball, touching the ball more than anyone. And even in his first game back, he showed how dangerous he can be. And I think, if he's actually fully fit, maybe we see the rise of the Raiders for the back end of this season. Because I think last year, whilst he came back, he still wasn't himself. He had a bit of a sternum sort of issue there, and I think he never actually really got back to 100%. But he's had a fair bit of time off. If the knee's good, if they play like they did last week against the Tigers, they're going to be a team you're not going to want to play on the run home. It opens up, a bit of space and a few less eyes on guys like Leilua and Croker in the halves and some of those big forwards to go forward. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they go on the back of Hodso. So.
A couple of other key starters this week in the back row. Viliame Kikau for Penrith. CHN is injured. And Tavita Pangai has retained a starting spot up for the Broncos. So, look, I don't have either of them in my team, but I have it part of the season, but had to move them for various reasons. We talked about it. These guys, if they're sort of starting or whether they're even on the bench, they've been effective players all year.
Yeah, and they're the new breed of back rower that seems they're going to be our superstar back rowers in the next sort of 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
Both of them under sort of a little bit of an injury cloud, so I don't know if it's 100% that they're going to run on, but it looks like at this stage they'll be there. I mean, I've thought about it and we've talked about, I don't know if Fafita's a sell, don't know what's going on with him at the moment, but I mean, you can potentially look to go to one of these guys. I mean, I know myself, I was looking at maybe Fafita to Pangai Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sold on
Run over Fafita for me, mate. Obviously,
yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
I'm not sure what's going on there, to be honest. He had that knee niggle, as everyone was aware, but it didn't seem to affect him. The last 2 weeks, he's had his minutes cut down to around mid-50s, which is the least amount of minutes he's played back-to-back games all year. And on the back of that, in the lowest scores he's scored back-to-back all year. That's before Woodsy's got there. So obviously I'll have to assume that, again, he's not going to increase his minutes with Woodsy going there, and you got Pryor, arguably.
New South Wales prop.
Who's the best prop at the club? So, the only thing with this week, maybe why he will be a hold, is you've got Lukey Lewis and Wade Graham both out injured for sort of 2 to 4 weeks at least. I think both of them. I know you've got a couple of young back rowers in Capel and Sorensen that can get the job done, but maybe Fafita picks up the workload again there. And I mean, I never trust Gallen can go a month without an injury. So,
but I looked at the start of the
season. It's a really, really interesting one because you say a month ago, someone would call you crazy if you suggested selling Fafita. So he is a hold, I think, but I mean, I couldn't blame someone for selling him at the moment.
Mate, I looked at the start of the season.
A high break even, like 115 or something like that. So
Fafita,
115 break even. He's at 600 odd K. So if he's going to
go, it might be the week to get rid of him.
If you're going to go, it could be the week. And if you're not, you're going to have to stick with him.
Obviously, he misses 17.
Mm-hmm. Is he a keeper? So is he a keeper still? I think I'll leave him for another week to find out, but it might be too late by then.
Mate, with the addition of Woods, I think Woods. His return to form is just being in a better team, and I think he'll get that at Cronulla. You've got a really professional side. Coach Shane Flanagan runs the team around really well, so I think Woods is going to start to shine. What I see at Cronulla is very similar to what I saw in the Storm at the start of the season. It seems like the forward pack is just so stacked that they can afford to play these guys 40 to 50 minutes instead of having that one or two players that needs to play 70. I think in the games where it needs to happen, that Fafita needs to be on the park for 70, they'll do it. I just don't think you can rely on it from a Supercoach point of view. I'm not going to get rid of him just because I think he is that much of a gun. Even in 40 or 50 minutes, he still bangs out a 50 or a 55. To me, that's sort of okay at the moment. The front row stocks aren't exactly stacked. Back row, different story.
Absolutely.
If he was in the back row, I'd be getting rid of him. But front row, I can still sort of take those numbers. But yeah, again, if you're at home, like you say, that high break even, if you're thinking about getting rid of him, this is the week.
Yeah, I think you're right. And as you said, in 40, 50 minutes, he still can be effective. He gets that offload going, and we don't know. Maybe he's flared up that knee again, or we have no idea what's actually going on. So.
Again, Flanagan could just be looking for the run home. He might just want to give him 3 or 4 weeks where he's only playing 40 or 50 minutes, so that he can get him to the end of the season playing 70s or 80s towards finals. So who knows? Mate, let's run over our trades this week. For myself, I'm using all 5.
Yeah.
I have to.
Shock me.
All right. Herman SASA is out.
Yeah.
Little bit of patchy form, but doesn't play 17. I need some 17 plays. He's going, and I'm bringing in Joe Stimson from the Storm. Now, round 15, he actually kept Ryan Hoffman out of the team. Ryan Hoffman on the bench. He played good minutes, mid sort of fifth. I think he scored 56. I think he's a player Bellyache's looking to turn into a future second rower for this team. Obviously, Hoffman's not getting any younger. And I just think he might be a little smoky. He's 250k, maybe just a little bit of a get on. Being that you got so many trades this week, you might be able to switch him in.
No, I like it.
The other one I'm bringing in the back row is Tohu Harris. Now, I got rid of Tohu about 6 or 8 weeks ago, purely because he missed 13 and I was worried about the Denver test.
Yep.
I'm going to release Cam Murray for him. Cam Murray, again, I think this guy's going to be a great player and a good Supercoach player in future years. I might have just rated him a little bit too highly this year. Last few weeks he hasn't scored well, dropped a little bit in price, and I think Tohu's just playing really good. As long as SJ stays fit, I think Tohu's going to be averaging sort of that 65 a week.
Yep.
In the halves, I'm finally going to get rid of Lachlan Croker. It's taken me a while, but just to bring in Kurt Mann. Obviously, Mann looks to have sealed that spot on the wing for the Dragons. And he's going to be the guy who fills a hole. So if anyone gets injured on the park, they obviously bring Nightingale back onto the wing, and Mann fixes around somewhere in the middle so he can score points from there as well. So I reckon Mann, if anyone doesn't have him in, again, he's one you sort of got to have in. Maybe not got to at this time of the season, but he's going to earn some cash for you anyway. The other one I touched on earlier, obviously John Olu's been dropped. Little bit of a frustrating one there because he was one of those players expected to play 17. Even if he only scored 30 or 40 points, when you've only got 10 players, that can sort of make a difference. Going to switch to Jared Croker. We talked about obviously the Raiders. I'm hoping that they can get on that kind of run. If they can start scoring sort of 30 and 40 points every game, he's going to be kicking a lot of goals. And they seem to favour Kotrick's side as well, so he might get a few try assists or last touches. Finally, Mahe Fanua obviously broke his arm a couple of weeks ago. Going to get rid of Mahe, and I'm going to go to another Canberra player in Joey Leilua. I'm actually thinking he'll benefit from Rapana being out because as much as he hogs the ball, I think he'll hog it even more. He doesn't have Rapana to pass to there. I'm going to go with Mahe to Joey, and those are my 5 trades there, mate.
Beautiful, mate. They all sound pretty reasonable to me.
Until they all scored 20 points this week, and then I'm just swearing at myself. What about yourself, mate? Any initial ones? I know you haven't traded just yet.
Oh, look, for me, this was a round where I was going to fix up my centre wings. So I've had some guys in there. I just wanted, I wanted to trade for about a month, but I just couldn't. I was sort of waiting for this round. So guys like James Roberts, Asako, Richie Kenner.
Yep.
Mahe Fanua now. So there's 4 guys. I know Asako is arguably a hold, and I shouldn't be trading someone for 17 that's playing 17. But the more I think about it, the more I'm just getting my team ready for that run home.
Yep.
I'm potentially going to bring in Latrell Mitchell. I think I'm going to bring him back. I think the time is come. Like watching him in Origin, I can't get away from having him. I think you have to have him, and I know it's not probably the best time, but if he's going to play this week, I'd say I'll bring him in this week.
My only concern is the goal kicking. Whatever his name, Takiaho, seems to have kicked a few more goals lately. Even when Mitchell's been on the park, he's taken 1 or 2. So it's that extra 20 points you sort of get out of Mitchell a game that make him sort of what he is. Does he lose that?
No. I think it's more the fact that how devastating he was in Origin that's just convinced me that he's a keeper till the end. I know I started with him and we had talked about pretty much exactly what he could have been is what he has been this year.
Yep.
I just got off him in round 4 and it started in round 5. So the prediction wasn't wrong. I just got forced to move on him and I said I wouldn't bring him back. But I probably am going to bring him back now if he's playing this week. I like Yui Aitken. I know, he could get a call up if there's an injury, but I like his price this week. He should play 17 if he doesn't play Origin. I'm liking Jared Croker as well. He's a good price.
Yep.
I had Rapana for ages and they always go to Croker's side. So every time I watch the Raiders, it's down that edge. So that's why I'm thinking, Croker. But that being said, I think both centres for the Dragons are options with Lafayette or Aitken, and I also think both centres for the Raiders in Croker and Leilua are genuine options for the next couple of weeks. So they're all pretty good prices as well. So I think if you're looking anywhere around there, you can't go wrong. But I'm probably looking at Mitchell, Aitken, probably Vunivalu. I think he's going to be a guy that I can have on my sort of reserves list in the centres. Yep. He won't play every week, but there might be the weeks where it'll be nice to have him.
Yep.
And I can still make a bit of cash by going to...
Just been disappointing, hasn't he?
He has. And I know I'm sort of... It's a bit of a weird one, but I still think for who
there's
he
something
is...
there.
Yeah, I think I can make money if I go Kenneth to Vunivalu, and I think he plays 17, so there's a few positives to that one. I want to go Tamari Martin to Widdop as well, but I mean the issue I have now, not bragging, I'm not leading any comps. I said I had to not play Ponga last week. That's because I have probably 5 genuine bench guys I can pick. Yeah. If I go Tamari Martin to Widdop, it becomes 6, and I have
competition
to pick.
again.
And
that's where you get someone on your bench score 120, and you just
exactly like what
head nick yourself.
And then I have to start choosing. But that being said, If you don't have too many trades and just this time of year, it's always good to have a bit of depth. But the weeks you have to pick them are the worst weeks ever. So that's where I'm at. I'm still not locked in, but that's sort of where I'm floating.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe a Kurt Mann falls in there. I think he's a real good option this week. And I thought about TPJ, but I just don't think I can get away from anyone in my back row to get him in. I don't think I'll be trading for feeder for him this week, but that was an option. But yeah, that's a bit of a dog's breakfast.
We'll see what happens Thursday night.
Yeah, mate.
Guys, that's it for another week. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. We'll catch you all next week. Was it?
Yeah, we started probably just before.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of...
It felt good, but...
Yeah, no, it was alright. I didn't realise you'd had that point stuff written